ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो नारायणाय अभ्यसम्भूतः पृथिव्यैरसाच्च विश्वकर्मणः समवर्तताधि तस्य त्वष्टा विदधत्रूपमेति तत्पुरुषस्य विश्वमाजानमग्रे वेदाहमेतं पुरुषं महान्तम् आदित्यवर्णं तमसः परस्तात् तमेवं विद्वान् अमृत इह भवति नान्यः पन्था विद्यते यनाय प्रजापतिश्चरति गर्भे अन्तः अजायमानो बहुधा विजायते तस्य धीराः परिजानन्ति योनिम् मरीचीनां पदमिच्छन्ति वेधसः यो देवेभ्य आतपति यो देवानां पुरोहितः पूर्वो यो देवेभ्यो जातः नमो रुचाय ब्राह्मये रुचं ब्राह्मं जनयन्तः देवा अग्रे तदब्रुवन् यस्त्वैवं ब्राह्मणो विद्यात् तस्य देवा असन्वशे ह्रीश्च ते लक्ष्मीश्च पत्न्यौ अहोरात्रे पार्श्वे नक्षत्राणि रूपम् अश्विनौ व्यात्तम् इष्टं मनिषाण अमुं मनिषाण सर्वं मनिषाण। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So we were looking at the Uttara Narayana, having completed the riks of the Purusha Sukta itself. When we normally chant the Purusha Suktam, we also chant it with these 6 riks. Okay, 6 more are there, which are called Uttara Narayana. And in this, the first 3 are Trishtup Chandas, 4 and 5 are Anushtup. Again, the last one is Trishtup. This Uttara Narayana is praising Aditya Devata. Okay, Aditya Devata or Surya Narayana, we can take it as Surya Narayana. And this also can be used as a Upasana, Aditya Upasana. Here, the first mantra we already saw, the first rik here. Adbhyas Sambhutaha Prithivyairasa Acha. In fact, there is another patha also is there. Adbhyaha Sambhritaha is there. Bhr. Instead of Sambhutaha, Sambhritaha. Like that also there is a patha. Now, Adbhyaha means from water. Prithivyai. In fact, Prithivyai, this is Chandasam. Okay. This actually it should be 6th case, but 4th case is there. Prithivya is Chaturthi. But here the meaning should be 6th. Because Adbhyaha Rasat, Prithivyaha Rasat, like that it should be. But it is there as Prithivya. So sometimes in Vedic Sanskrit, the Vibhakti can be slightly different. Okay. So that's all. Only when you read the commentary you will know. So they will say that here actually the Chaturthi has come in the meaning of Shashti, like that. The commentator will write that. Even here Rasat also is actually this is Chandasa Prayoga, because it has come as Pullinga here, Rasat. But actually in classical Sanskrit Rasa is Strilinga. So this also is Chandasam, that means. It is all Vedic Sanskrit. So here, in fact, only the water and Prithvi are talked about. Okay, Adhyaha, Prithivyaha, Rasat, cha Sambhutaha. So this entire world has come from the rasa of water and Prithvi. So rasa means what? Their essence and all, you can say in English, correct? Or we can say from their sukshma form, because we do talk about Panchikaranam. I may have talked about Panchikaranam before. So here, although only two, the water and earth are talked about, they are Upalakshana for all the Panchabhutas. So the entire Panchabhuta, from that Panchabhuta only, their Sukshma forms then combine. Panchikaranam happens. So initially they are Tanmatra, we say. They are there as themselves. Pure Panchabhutas are there. They are called Tanmatras. Then you take from the Tanmatra itself, you combine them. Actually, what we call as Akasha is only 50% Akasha. Then 1/8 of other four bhutas are also combined with that, and that's how the actual, whatever the Stula Akasha we are seeing, even in that we talk about the Sattva, Rajas, Tamo, Guna and all that, okay? So the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas aspects of these Tanmatras also become different things by undergoing Panchikarana amongst themselves. So that is how we say the entire Sukshma Sharira, if you take, itself is made up of both Sattva and Rajas. Your Manas, mind and Indriyas are all made up of the Sattva Guna of the different Bhutas. In fact, each Indriya is from one Bhuta, the Sattva aspect of that Bhuta, and Manas has all the things put together. That's why sometimes the word Sattva is used to refer to the mind also. Okay, that's why we even have words like Sattva Shuddhi. Okay, Antakarana Shuddhi also we say, the internal organ. Antakarana means internal organ. Sattva means that which has been born out of the Sattva Guna. That's why the mind itself is called Sattva. So we talk about Sattva Shuddhi, purity of mind. Then the Rajas aspect of all these Panchabhutas combined and form the Panchaprana and Mahaprana, Prana itself. Without Prana, there is no life, correct? All activity is all Rajas. Life itself is Rajas only. Then the Tamas aspect only became the physical world. So our model of creation is beautiful because it just does not talk only about the physical world. It covers everything, correct? It covers prana, it covers mind also. That is our 5 elemental model of creation. So this 5 elemental model covers the entire creation. This entire Brahmanda, Jagat, whatever you call, is all nothing but they are all from these Panchabhutas only. And Vishwakarmanaha. So Vishwakarma here is the one who is the creator of everything. Vishwani, like that we have to take. So everything has been created by whom? That person is called Vishwakarma here. And Vishwakarmanas Samavartatadhi. Samavartata means Samabhavat. Okay, became. Means here, actually what it means is, so everything has come from this Vishwakarma only, who is the creator of everything. Okay, and then Samavartata Adhi. And from this Vishwakarma only what? The one who has Adhi here means one who has Abhimana, one who has reference or identity with this entire world, the Virat Purusha we say. Virat Purusha means Virat. In fact, even in the Purusha Sukta also we talked about Virat, correct? So Virat is the one who has the identity, the Dehi. If the entire creation is the Deha, the Dehi, the one who has the Abhimana of that entire creation as one's own body, is Virat. Virat is the total. We are all individuals. The total is Virat. So Virat Purusha also is born out of this Parama Purusha, Vishwakarma only. And Tasya Tvashta Vidadhat Rupameti. Here the Vishwakarma can also be, if you are taking this verse as a Aditya Upasana verse, then the Vishwakarma can be taken as also Aditya, because Aditya is the one who makes all activities possible here in the whole world, correct? Only when the sun rises, all activities are happening. That way Vishwakarma can also be taken to mean Aditya. Tvashta also means Aditya only. One of the names of Aditya is Tvashta. Okay. So here Aditya Devata also you can take it. And Vidadat Rupameti Tasya Tvashta. So here Tasya Rupam Eti Tvashta. Tvashta again can be taken as Parama Purusha also. Okay. And he pervades everything as the Virat Purusha, because the Virat Purusha only is everything, and as the Virat Purusha you pervade everything, like that we are telling that Parama Purusha Tvashta, or the Tvashta can also be taken as Aditya. So this, as I told you, this can be taken as a praise for Aditya Devata. And anyway, even Bhagavan, Lord only appears as everything, correct? Even as Aditya. So we can take it that way. So this Virat itself is only an Amsha of the Parama Purusha or Vishwakarma. So Tat Purushasya Vishwam Ajanam Agre. So Agre in the beginning. Okay. Tat Purushasya Vishwam Ajanam Agre. Like that we chant that. So we know that Purusha means you can do Upasana here. In fact, Ajanam means also Jananam only. This entire world was born from that Purusha. Okay. So that Purusha only, this, when we say Purusha here, we are talking about Parama Purusha only, is born as this Virat Purusha. That is the meaning when we say Tat Purushasya Vishwamajanam Agre, means you have to also visualize that. Only the Purusha, Parama Purusha, who is Ishvara, what we say as Ishvara, is also manifest as this physical totality. Parama Purusha only is manifest as Hiranyagarbha also, the totality of the Sukshma. So first we are here establishing that this Purusha is the one who has become this Virat Purusha, who has taken the form of Virat, who has taken the form of everything, all the 14 lokas, whatever we talk about, Bhuhu, Boha, etc. Everything is nothing but this Virat Purusha. And then the second verse is a repeat almost of this. Here already we saw, correct? Vedaha metam purusham mahantam. Only the actual swara is slightly different, and one word parastat is there here. Here it is tamasastu pare. Meaning wise, it's all the same. Okay, so again here I know this Parama Mahantam Purusham, this glorious, this greatest. You can put all these words. So in this manner, I know this Purusha who is effulgent, self-effulgent. In fact, Aditya Varnam means that is the meaning. Who does not require any means of knowledge to be known. Like even the Aditya does not require any other source of light to be revealed, correct? And one who is beyond all ignorance, darkness, tamas of parastat. So in this manner, tam evam vidvan, the one who knows in this manner, this Purusha becomes Amrita iha bhavati. And for this Amritatvam moksha, there is no other way. Nanyaf pantha vidyate ayanaya. So this much we saw already. Now very interesting rik is there. Prajapatis garbhe antaha ajayamano bahudha vijayate. So Prajapatihi, Praja Prakarshena Jayate iti Praja. That's what we say. So one who is born well, like all the human beings are all Praja only, or all beings also we can say. And one who is the Pati of all the beings, Master, Lord. So this Prajapati, Hiranyagarbha, you can say, means the one who is the creator of all the beings. After creating, what did this being, this Prajapati do? Charati garbhe antaha. So Prajapati entered the garbha, means here udara, the stomach we can take it as, of all these beings. So this is a very important thing. In fact, this Pravesha Shruti is there. In different Upanishads it is there. If you take Taittiriya Upanishad, Tat Srishtva Tadevanupravishat Tadanupravishya Satchatyacha Bhavat. Like that, when the Srishti Prakriya is talked about, having created all the beings, this Brahman, Paramatma, Paramapurusha entered. So this entry is talked about. Entered into these beings only. As the Antaryami, then that Brahman is sitting in each and every one, within each and every one. There is also an Antaryami Brahmana in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Saiha Pravishtaha, like that also there is a Vakya in Brihadaranyaka, in the fourth Brahmana of the first chapter itself, this Pravesha Shruti comes there also. So once this Parama Purusha is there as the Avyakrita, undifferentiated, unmanifest, and then from that everything Nama, Rupa, Karma, Vyakaravani and all, it then differentiate into different names, forms, karma, etc. And then entered. So this entry is done by whom? And entry means what? There is a huge discussion. In fact, if you take the Pravesha Shruti Bhashya, Bhashyakara talks a lot. In fact, he takes different opinions, analyzes them, and shows them how they are illogical or they do not fit. Because first we have to establish who has entered. Here, Prajapati is given clearly, the uh, one who is appearing as Prajapati, we have to say. So even here, Bhashyakara takes it as that Brahman only, Brahman, Param Brahma only is also here referred to as Prajapati, even here. This Prajapati or Param Brahma here enters, okay, means what? Now, entry can be talked about only for limited things, correct? For something to enter something, it should not be there already. Now, if you say Prajapati only is appearing as everything, Prajapati is the creator, Prajapati is the one who is manifesting as all that is here. All the Panchabhutas are also nothing but Prajapati's manifestation. From that only this entire creation also is manifesting. If we say like that, everything, everywhere Prajapati is there, correct? Prajapati is pervading everything. If Prajapati is everywhere, how can Prajapati enter anywhere? Entry itself is meaningless. Only a limited thing which is not there in one place, and at a particular time, correct? Only a limited thing which is not there at a particular space-time coordinate can enter that from some other space-time coordinate. So entry itself means a limited thing entering into a particular place. So if you say so and so entered his house, means he was not there in his house before, and now he has entered. But in the case of Prajapati, who is all pervading, how can there be any entry? This question will come, correct? So how do we then understand this entry? Some people say no, Prajapati is also only a Jiva. Jiva only enters. The entry is not Paramatma and all that. But in wherever Pravesha Shruti is talked about, Tat Srishtva Tadeva Nupravishat, for example, or Sa Iha Pravishtaha, that pronoun is used, correct? Whenever you are using a pronoun like Tat or Saha, it has to point to a noun, and the noun is very clear there. Noun is Param Brahma only, because Param Brahma, the whole Srishti Prakriya starts with Param Brahma creating everything. How can suddenly the pronoun point to something other than the noun? The pronoun has to always point to the noun, correct? So that's why we even first said who is entering has to be very clear. So when we say Tat Srištva Tadeva Anupravishat or Sa Iha Pravishtaha, the Saha points to Brahman. That is very clear when you analyze the Vakyas. So Brahman alone entered. So you cannot say the limited Jiva entered the body. Jiva being limited need not be there in the body. And then Jiva enters the body, like that you can say. But here that is not said. That is very clear when you analyze the Veda Vakyas, the Upanishad Vakyas. So then how do we understand this? So there is a big discussion on that. So I don't want to go into the entire discussion. But the final conclusion is what? So what does Bhashyakara conclude? Since Brahman is all pervading, it doesn't make any sense to say that Brahman actually entered there. Okay. But whenever we say that somebody entered some place, Mr. X entered this room, let us say, means what is the meaning of that finally? Mr. X is available there. Is that clear? Entry means availability. So here, what Bhashyakara finally says about this entry is what? Brahman is available in each and every one of us as aham, in fact. Brahman alone is the self-effulgent consciousness in each and every one of us, the self-existent, self-revealing consciousness is nothing but Brahman. So the Brahman is available in each and every one of our buddhi guha within us, so that you can know also. You can know this truth. So the Pravesha Shruti only makes it clear to you that Brahman is the one which is available for you to know as your true self. So the Pravesha itself is nothing but Upalabdhi Sthanam, like that Bhashyakara says. So Upalabdhi Sthanam means what? Brahman is available to know. In your own buddhi, Brahman is available as the one who is lighting up each and every cognition, pratibodha viditam matam, like that Kenopanishad says beautifully. So in each and every cognition, the invariable is nothing but Brahman. It has entered and it is available in each and every cognition, but we miss it in fact, because we are focused on objects of knowledge and we miss the eternal subject, which is the unchanging in each and every cognition. So when you take any cognition, the object keeps on varying. If you take different cognitions, in fact, so pataha asti, pot is okay. Then what? Then the pot broke. Still clay is correct. Then you turn your head. Some other cloth is. So in all these things, the pot goes, clay goes, cloth goes, so many other things goes, whichever one you are cognizing. But the invariable in each of these things is correct. Isness never goes away. That is called sadbuddhi. In fact, Bhashyakara says the asad buddhi keeps on varying because it is all mithya. In fact, it really doesn't exist. The sadbuddhi never varies. In every cognition, is will be there. So, in fact, our language itself is a cause of confusion, because we say that is, we use it as an adjective. In fact, we say existent pot, existent cloth. Once the pot is broken, it is non-existent pot, we say. So existence we are taking as an adjective, and pot, which is non-existent, really we are taking it as a substantive. Really what is there is potty existence, clayey existence, clothy existence. Existence alone is the invariable. Is the invariable in each and every cognition. We miss that, and we are only seeing the names and forms. Names and forms keep on varying. They don't have any existence of their own, in fact. Nasato vidyate bhavaha, na bhavo vidyate sataha. This is what Bhagavan says. So, this Brahman is available as the Antaryami, as the one who is lighting up each and every cognition in each and every one of us. We have to only recognize that. So Brahman is available for you to recognize. That is the meaning of this entry, Upalabdhi Sthanam. Otherwise, you cannot really say Brahman entered, correct? Brahman being unlimited cannot have any entry from one place to another. So here the entry only signifies that it is available for cognition. Availability only it means. So that is one point. The other is what? Ajaya mano bahudha vijayate. So ajaya manaha means one who is never born. Being the one who is never born, still bahuda vijayate, but still appears as we have to say, correct? Many. One who is never born, how can one who is never born appear as many things? Means maya, yeah, it's all only maya. So maya means don't think that it is something you cannot understand. In fact, every scientist understands maya very well. Each one of us also we can understand. Even so many examples are there, correct? You take rope snake is one example used always. So the rope is not really born as snake, understand that. Rope is never born as snake. Rope is rope only. It is as it is. But bahudha vijayate, it appears as different limbs of the snake. Then what? You see that and you have fear, etc. That's all ignorance. That is maya, in fact. Even if you don't want to go to the level of rope snake, we can simply understand it even with clay and pot, or clay and tumbler, clay and some plate. Because clay is always clay, correct? In clayness, there is no potness or plateness or any other form. When in your understanding of clay, clay is clay only. There is no potness in it. But a clay pot is always clay. Understand that there is no clay pot without it being the clay. So the pot doesn't have any independent existence of its own. That is why the pot is a mithya. Mithya means what? It doesn't have independent existence of its own. If you touch the pot, you are touching the clay. If you weigh the pot, you are weighing the clay. Correct? Really, clay alone is there. And if you look at it as clay, in your understanding of clay, there is no potness. So clay exists independently of the pot, but pot can only exist as clay, a clay pot. Understand that. Therefore, the clay pot is mithya, it has dependent existence, it's only name and form. Vacharammanam vikaro namadheyam mrittika ityeva satyam. Like that, the Vacharamana Shruti is there, Chandogya Upanishad. So whatever is satyam is always there. Here, relatively, the clay is relatively always there with reference to the pot. The pot is born, or before the pot is born, clay is there. Pot is born, clay is still there. Pot is gone, clay is still there. Correct? Similarly, rope is there, then snake is born on rope. Okay? Still rope is rope only. Then again you shine a torch. There is no more snake. Snake is gone. Still rope is there. But rope never was born as snake in all three periods of time. Even when you were seeing the snake, there was no real snake, correct? That is the beauty. See, mithya means it appears. We are perceiving it. We are not saying you are not even perceiving it. Whatever you perceive is mithya. Drishyate. But even while you are seeing it, it doesn't have any reality. Of course, before it was born, it was not there. After it is gone, it is not there. That we all understand. But the beauty is what? Even while you are seeing it, it is not real. That is the nature of Mithya. It is only appearance. It appears. So Bhagavan also here, or Prajapati, Paramapurusha, Ajaya Manaha, not born, but Bahudha Vijayate, Mayaya, Upadhi, Vashena, you can say. Or another analogy, what we give, space. Space is only one. But due to conditioning factors, Upadhi can be translated as a conditioning factor, that which Upasamipe Tishtan, okay, sitting near something else, it gives its own dharma to the other thing. That is what is called Upadhi. Okay. Upasamipe Tishtan Sviyan Dharman Adhiyate Upadhi. So one's own qualities, it gives to something else. In reality, there is none, it is not there. Like even the spatika, we say, you keep the spatika near the japa kusuma. You keep the crystal, which is crystal clear, correct, which is transparent, near a red flower. And then you look at it, now you think it is ruby, it is shining with redness. In reality, the crystal does not have any redness, correct? But the redness of the flower is the upadhi here. It gives its own redness to the crystal, not in reality, but it appears. Like that, space also you take. Once there is a part, you say part space. This part space is bigger than that part space and all that. In reality, in fact, everything is in space. Space is not in part. That is our problem, correct? Language itself is confusing, let me tell you. So in reality, part is in space, but we talk about part space as though space is in part. So when was the part space born? The space is born as part space, I say, when along with the part itself. When the part is born, part space is born. When the part is gone, part space is gone. But but always space alone was there, correct? Space is indivisible. So all this born and gone are all only appearance. In reality, nothing is born. Therefore, nothing can die also. So ajayamano bahudha vijayate. This is the beauty. So this entire Sriti itself, we have to understand like this. That's why we say Brahman is Vivarta. Vivarta Upadana, we say. Means what? It does not give up its nature. The clay does not give up its nature, but still becomes the pot. Being clay only, it is born as pot. Being gold only, it is born as jewelry, different types of jewelry, Bahuda. If the gold is not anymore gold, when it becomes a chain, you will not even buy it, in fact. Even though you are buying a gold chain, you are all interested in chain, all the design and all that. But still its value, when you want to sell it back, is only because it is gold, correct? When you are selling it, it is gold. When you are buying, it is chain. And even while buying, while let us say if the gold becomes something else, when it becomes the chain means you won't buy it. It doesn't have any value. Correct? So without giving up its own nature, being as it is, it appears, it is born, you can say. That is all only Maya. In fact, this entire world, so many things are there, countless. All of them, even the scientists are saying, can be reduced into, so you can keep on reducing, correct? You say pot is clay, clay is silica, silica is nothing but some molecules, Molecules are nothing but atoms are nothing but proton, electron, neutron. Then you go into some subatomic particles. So only few particles are there. Then how did this countless objects in the world appear? There is no explanation, correct? Even scientists cannot give. They'll say it appears, that's all. That is all Maya only. In fact, at the subatomic level, 99% is space, really. Because the nucleus is in a very small area and the electron clouds are going around it at a distance. And 99% is space. Then how do you get all this solid, liquid, gas, everything we have, correct? It's all Maya, Maya only. It's all the macro world itself is Maya. It's only an appearance. And it's all born without its substance being really born. So this Ajayamano Bahuda Vijayate. And normal people, they are all deluded by this Maya. Means what? They only see all these different objects, correct? And then you get afraid because you think you are also one more object. You are one more limited being because your identity is on this object called body. Body itself is nothing but an object, correct? So you have your identity on this body, which is one more object, and you think you are one more thing in this created universe. Means fear, because what you, one more thing means you are so small, so limited, so insignificant. The cosmos, they talk about light years and all that. Millions or billions of light years. And what I am not even occupying a few feet. So I am so insignificant, so small. World is so big, very hostile. Nothing is under my control. All problems then. Correct? So normal people are only seeing these objects. They are deluded. But dhiraha. So dhiraha means what? Vivekinaha, those who have viveka, discriminative knowledge, those who analyze, those who try to see the reality of this world. Correct? Normal people are seeing only elephant. Marattai maraitade mamada yanai. So normal people are seeing only elephant and they are afraid. Normal people are seeing only snake and they are afraid. But dhiraha, viveki purushaha, even after seeing a snake, they take a torch and they shine it there. They don't start running straight away. They want to see whether what is the reality of this snake. If you shine a torch there, what do you see? You see only a rope or a mala. So the dhiraha yonim parijananti, tasya yonim means what? This Prajapati who is unborn only is appearing as this entire world, correct? And these people try to see that this entire, the dhiras, they try to see the reality behind all these objects, whatever is appearing, whatever you think are born, bahuda vijayate, that which is appearing as multifarious, this world, this wonderful world, variegated world. What is the reality? What is the yoni means what? What is the karana rupa? We are all seeing the karya. You can see the karya and you are wonderful, you are stuck, wonderstruck. and deluded also, because you think you are one of the karya. But what is the karana? Here yoni means karana. So the dhiraha parijananti yonim, they know the karana rupa, the karana swarupa of this entire srishti, whatever is appearing here. Okay. So they are the ones who are seeing the karana rupa. So those are the jnanis, dhiraha parijananti yonim. So they analyze, of course, with the help of Shastra and Guru, that you have to take it for granted. And they arrive at discriminative knowledge. They know the Karana Swarupa. The Karana is nothing but Purusha, Parama Purusha alone is appearing as all this. And Marichinam Padamichanti Vedhasaha. So Marichinam Padam. See, Marichi, Atri, these are all very exalted devatas and rishis and all this. These Padavi, those who desire for such. This Veda Saha means here actually the one who is capable of creating. Because in the when we talked about the Purusha Sukta also, in the Purusha Sukta, those who are initially doing the yajna with Purusha as the Ahuti, correct? They are all the ones who are interested with the duties of creating this entire creation. We saw that. Okay. So those are the people here when we talk about this dhiraha. Okay. And they want to become jnanis like Marichi. Marichi Adi. Marichi Nam Padamichanti Vedasa means Marichi are all already jnanis. They understand this. But these dhiras also, they want to be like Marichi Adi, Jnani, Purushaha. So how this Marichi, etc., they know this reality, this truth. Similarly, these dhiraha also, they desire, and then they know, they comprehend the Karana Swarupa. They are not lost in the Karya. Karya Jagat, you can be lost. It's all countless. Karana is only one. In fact, Karana is the only thing you can know. See, anything in this world, you can never know completely. Correct? I can keep on asking why, or how. Up to a point you can go. Afterwards, you cannot. In fact, everything in itself further becomes so many more things, correct? So my guru used to say, Namni Namani. That's all. This world is nothing but names in names. You take pot, a name. Then you can say clay is another name. So pot has become another name, clay. Clay has now become molecules. Molecules has become atoms. Atoms has become subatomic particles. Like that, you can keep on going. Only names. You can never know anything completely. The only thing you can know completely is yourself, Chaitanyam. Because it is Nirgunam, in fact. That is the reason why you can know it completely, fully, wholly. Because it doesn't have any parts. The partless whole is the only thing you can know properly, completely. In the world, you cannot know anything completely because you will only find more and more names, more and more forms. Names and forms keep on multiplying as you know more. That's why we say the more you know how much you don't know also, correct? That is the nature of normal knowledge. Self-knowledge alone can be complete. because there the vastu is, nature is like that. It is unchanging, partless whole. So you can know that totally, properly. All other things you can never know completely. Anything, the worldly knowledge, objective knowledge, that is why science and all can never come to an end. It is endless. More scientific knowledge comes, the more the scientist also knows how much they do not know. Ignorance, the knowledge of ignorance also keeps increasing. See, nowadays we have specialists, experts, and all these people, correct? Who is a specialist? 50 years back, there was one doctor. Whatever you had, you went to that doctor, correct? There was a family doctor. I don't know nowadays families have any more family doctors. Even when we were growing up, we had family doctor. Whatever problem is there, everybody went to one doctor only. That doctor used to prescribe any medicine. But now it is not like that. If you have eye problem, you have to go to ophthalmologist. But even there, you see, there is a separate retinologist, or if you have glaucoma or whatever, even within eye, there are specialties are there. You have to go to that person. And who is a specialist? A specialist is one who knows more and more about less and less, correct? That is a specialist nowadays. The retinologist only studies about the retina. Of course, he has already studied about the entire eye also, but he is now studying more and more about one particular part of the eye. Like that, only all other specialists are there, correct? You go to a cardiologist, means only about the cardiovascular system. That person is studying more and more. So, like this, you can study more and more, you can know more and more about one small area, then you become a specialist. But even in that, as you study more and more, what you learn is you know how much you don't know. Even in that, more and more about your ignorance also you are discovering. That is the nature of objective knowledge. Understand that the only thing you can know completely, totally, is yourself, because you are partless whole. How can I understand I am the partless whole? You are always the partless whole. Understand that our sense of I is never, even though is never a part which has its parts and all that. Our sense of I is always a whole. How do I say that? Even though we have identity with reference to the body, if I, let us say I have a nail, I cut the nail. Now do I become 99% I? Or I lose one leg? Do I now become 75% I? I is always I, understand that. Even in law, if you kill somebody who does not have a leg, will you get only 3/4 the sentence because he is only 75% human being? Will you say that? It's never like that, correct? Your sense of I is always a whole. Understand that. It is never, there is no parts in I. I is I. I can never be 50% I, 25% I, and all that. I am a partless whole. As a conscious being, also, I am a partless whole. That is my reality. And that is the only knowledge which can be complete in itself. All other knowledge will only further show you how much you don't know. It can never come to an end. The pursuit itself can never come to an end. So that is what one has to desire. As a mumukshu, you desire to know your true nature as the one who is this limitless conscious being. That is the vision. That is what one has to make effort to know also. So this Marichinam padam icchanti vedasaha. So those who are, the vedasaha means those who are helping in this creation, you can say, are those who have the duty to do this creation. Srishti Yogya, they are all dhiraha, viveki purushaha, and they want to also become jnanis like other jnanis. Then what? This Parama Purusha only is further praised here. Yo devebhya atapati, yo devanaam purohitaha, purvo yo devebhyo jataha, namo ruchaya brahmaye. So, yo devebhya atapati. So, devarthaya, devebhya means for the purpose of the devas, one who shines. In fact, one who shines, because deva itself means those who shine, correct? Div dhatu is coming in the meaning of shining. But who is shining really for the devas, in the devas, in fact, means this Parama Purusha only, who is the Karana of everything. This Prajapati only is shining. Devebhyaha, Devarthaya, Atapati means here shine. Yo Devanaam Purohitaha. So one who is in the form of Purohitaha means Brihaspati also you can take, because Brihaspati is the Purohita of the Devas, correct? One who stands before. Purohitaha really means one who is before you, one who stands before you and then teaches you, tells you what is dharma, all that. So who is the Purohita for all the devas? Brihaspati. So one who is also appearing as the, not only all the devas, one who shines, who is the shine in the devas themselves, but he is also the one who is appearing as Brihaspati. Purvoyo devebhyo jataha. And this Prajapati is the one who is born even before all the devatas. And that Prajapati, Namaha, Namo Ruchaya Brahmaye. Ruchaya means again the one who shines. Rochate. And one who is in the form of everything. This Brahmam word also we'll see how it is derived. Okay, so all that we'll see next week. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
धन्यवादः गुरुजी.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.